Sorry, it was 56%.
All right, everyone. Welcome to the Ghostfire Media Podcast. I'm Josh Laston, and we got our all-star broadcasters here tonight, Nick Adams and Randy Pepper.
Hey guys, what's happening? It is Friday night once again here in the Ghostfire Media Podcast studios. I guess all of us have our studios from our houses here, and tell you what, it's going to be a fun night tonight. Going to be a little different because we only have one guest tonight, but we're going to make it up to you because we do have some stuff that we're going back to the days when I hosted a show called the Point After Sports Show on radio. And so we're going to kind of go back to some of the stuff, some of the topics that I did on some certain nights. So that's what we're going to kind of do tonight. So guys, what did you guys do this week? Josh, how was your week?
It was rough. A lot of racing. Unfortunately, I got to miss one of the caution fests that was the AOLL in race. Got to broadcast.
We're going to talk about that. We'll talk about that. Nick, how was your week?
Now it started out pretty interesting. I worked the New Hampshire Motor Speedway race for the place of business I work for, so that was interesting. It was 3 days of fun. Saturday was wet and cold. Sunday was wet, cold, and long, and then Monday was just freaking long.
Did you get to see my buddy Pat Patterson?
No, I didn't see much of anything other than the fact that people are disgusting. I mean, I knew this already, but when there's a trash can, just a public service announcement for people when you go to a racetrack, when you walk by a trash can as you're going to the stands, instead of throwing it on the ground, open the trash can lid and throw it in the trash can. It's not that hard. It's very simple, and it makes the track's life easier, makes the waste workers' lives easier. And it makes you look like a better person, you lazy sack of ugh.
Anyway.
But other than that, Tuesday through Friday sucked. It was terrible. I mean, last night was all right with the race, but it's just been.
We'll get to that one.
Yeah, we'll get into all the racing action from the AOLL because we got a lot to talk about that.
It was nice to have a Tuesday off, though. That was fun.
I agree with you. It was kind of weird, man. I was kind of lost a little bit because I didn't have a gig. I didn't have you to work with. I was like, what the heck? No IVRL?
That was the thing. Like Tuesday night, like at our normal time. I'm trying to turn that off. At our normal time that we're broadcasting, I was sitting here like, am I forgetting something? Like it feels like I'm just forgetting to do something because we weren't broadcast.
Right, exactly. I felt the same way. So yeah, I can understand. It almost feels like too when I run Thursday nights now with you guys. I almost feel like I'm missing out on the booth, but
you didn't miss out on anything last night. You just got falling asleep.
Actually, I got to give kudos to Adam last night. Adam did a really good job. I enjoyed the character, his uptick in charisma and everything like that for the race. I got to give him a heads up for that, or like a thumbs up.
Yeah, Adam did a fantastic job.
Well, I know
5 out of 5.
Even though we did have one less series to cover this past week, we actually started our brand new with Fuel, and that will actually be our first guest tonight, was the winner of the All-Star race from Fuel.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and bring Thomas Brassey, how do you pronounce his name? Brassey. Okay, let's bring Thomas in and get his take on his Fuel.
His Fuel. I like that. That's
his Fuel.
Haha. But Randy Pepper with the fun jokes on a That's all, folks.
Hey, Thomas, are you there?
I am, gents. How are you?
Oh, no camera, man. We always like people to have the cameras on. Oh, man, that's too bad.
Yeah, most people's gaming rigs don't have them. We get it.
Yeah.
It's okay. I'm okay with looking at the 24. I like that number.
Yeah, you just have to look at a giant yellow square for the next 20, 30 minutes. So
It's all right. It could be
Yeah.
worse. We could be looking at Kyle Busch.
Oh, yeah, you right.
Yeah, that's definitely true. So no, I don't have it. I have no love for Kyle Busch though.
I do after this last weekend. That was
Yeah,
that was good. I would have done the same thing.
yeah. I mean, I still don't love him. I mean, I guess to an extent I respect him. I still don't love his attitude, but
No.
I give him props. He's gotten a little better over the last couple of years. I'll give him that much.
A little. That's about it.
Hey, we all have that
yeah.
one coworker who is the only person in the room that has the guts enough to say what he thinks to the boss.
Mm-hmm.
And we all need that person, otherwise we work for,
Yeah.
Ford.
I mean, hey, it's good for the sport for somebody to speak up because everyone's so PC now because they got to make sure sponsors and everybody are happy and stuff like that. So he's been around
Those
long
Toyota
enough. He's
guys
like,
don't
I
care."
don't care.
Yeah, those
Whatever.
Toyota guys don't care.
No.
Him and Denny in a room, it's like it's a terrible thing.
Yeah.
Right. Hey, so Thomas, we usually intro everybody. We'd like to know a little bit about you. So tell us about yourself. Where you're from, what you do for a living, who you race for, how long you've been racing. All the good stuff. So kind of give us an intro to yourself.
So I think you guys kind of saw just with the driver profile stuff. I live right now in Malvern, PA. It's near Philadelphia. That's probably a little more, easy to point out on a map for some people, but pretty much lived there my whole life. Well, not pretty much, I have. 23, so I just graduated from college last year. Terrible mistake going. I don't know why I went, but whatever.
Where's your degree?
I went in for criminal justice. I thought I was going to go into law enforcement. And as I started applying, I was like, maybe this isn't a great time to be doing this. So let's have a bit of a rethink here.
At least you didn't say liberal arts.
Yeah. Well, so
Talk about a waste of $80,000.
yeah, well, thank God I didn't spend that much anyways, but even still, but that's another topic for another day. But so right now I'm working, I work in like materials and purchasing at an elective surgery center. And it works. It's full time, it's benefits and, pays the bills. So that works. I've been, I guess you could say sim racing since I was like 4, really. The first game I ever had was NASCAR Thunder 2002. I didn't know what NASCAR was. I just liked the blue car with the red flames and the yellow 24 on the cover. And I was like, I don't know what this is. I want it. And that was, I played the game a bunch. And I remember sometime later that year, I was like sitting on the couch watching TV with my mom. She's going through channels, and all of a sudden I see that car on TV. And I'm like, this thing is real? What? And that was the end of it. So, and then from like NASCAR 2005 onward, I've had like every game except for the NASCAR Heat stuff. But I think after like NASCAR 15, I jumped to iRacing. So I've been on iRacing, I guess like, that'd be like 6-ish years, working on 6 years. So I've been league racing since I think I was like probably early in high school. So like I think it was NASCAR the Game Inside Line was the first game I started league racing on.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah. So that was back on PS3, and I was in a league on there, and we did some F1 league racing, which I really liked and honestly kind of miss, but and then jumped to iRacing. And because I was the first one out of the group that we kind of raced with that jumped to iRacing, I was like, you guys need to get into this. So it kind of dragged the rest of them along. So I don't know if you guys know he's on Twitch, Patriot Breyer LaPrade. Do you guys know him?
I don't think so, no.
Name sounds familiar. He's,
I think, with like Lockdown Racing or something like that, but he's got a decent-ish following. He was one of the people I used to race with, and I knew him before he was Patriot Breyer. So, and he sounded like he was 5 years old, and I thought I had a high-pitched voice, but now he doesn't. So, but yeah, that's kind of me. So,
married or anything? No.
No, single AF. So
I almost said something that would have made me divorced. I'm gonna be quiet now.
we'll save that one for later. We'll just push that one to the side then.
So you had a great all-star race with Fuel this
Yeah.
first outing. Everybody got to know the drivers for the first time. I know Adam and Larry called the race. I did watch it back. It was an interesting format. Did you guys got to watch it, didn't you?
I was
Yeah.
in it.
So. Oh yes.
Oh yeah, Josh was in. That's right, Josh was
I was gonna say.
middle of the board there with Josh though.
With Fuel, that's all I want. These guys are too
Just
good.
like, just like if I finish above last, I'm happy.
Yeah, it was fun though, because like that's the first time I think we've really done an event like that. Not a lot of leagues do all-star stuff anyways. Like I remember a couple years ago there was a league that I was in and they did like it was at Charlotte, but they did like multi-class stuff. So it was like the Cup car, the Xfinity car, and the ARCA car. It was weird. It didn't really work out very well, but you know, it was something different. It was fun, and like I wasn't really going in looking to be serious. I was just looking to kind of have fun with it. And we all were. It's like kind of you guys were saying on the broadcast too. You know, everyone is one car at a time, so everyone was sitting watching everybody. So like I race in VR, so I had my camera up in the grandstands and I'm watching the cars go by. I had the broadcast pulled up, so I had you guys talking in the background and stuff. And it was you know a fun way to spend an evening.
So I have to ask, as unfortunately one of the people who couldn't turn a lap to save his life because this is the first time I'm running the B car. Do you think that you guys that got to go a little bit later had an advantage with the track cooling down?
Honestly, it's hard to say because like I mean there were guys that went out after me like Shane. I expected to. I thought he was going to do a lot better than he did, and like because he went out several cars after me, and I don't even know if he was in the top 5 at the end of the night. So, maybe like I mean I don't know if maybe there was kind of like a sweet spot to the track temp or something like that, but I mean you kind of also got to see what other people were doing, and like I think we all kind of like a bunch of us went in, like my teammates and I went into it. We're like, all right, you just need to make your pit box. That's going to be important, but we didn't realize how important until we started seeing people miss it, even if it was by a little bit compared to people that had like kind of meh laps and they still couldn't, like just because of that missing the pit box. It was like, don't miss the box. That's it. And then of course my teammate Casey misses it, parks in the next box because it's stalled, and then he just thinks about life while he waits for it to crank back up. So but yeah, I don't know, maybe there was a bit of a sweet spot with it, but it didn't seem like it changed much. I do think like from practice to when we actually did the runs, the track cooled down a lot for everybody because the track seemed like it just seemed really tight when we were doing our runs in practice before we actually started.
Yeah. Talk about you guys doing the pit stall thing. I mean, only like 2 or 3 of you guys actually made it in the stall. The rest, everybody else, overshot it or was undershot it. Josh, yeah, you were one of them. So, yeah. I mean, I think it was the guys that practiced that or the guys that got lucky at it were the ones that were the winners.
Yeah. So, really quick, Blake, kiss my ass. You are right. I don't make pit road half the time, so they shouldn't feel bad, but damn.
So Thomas, just so you know, Blake Gordon, who will actually be running Fuel, he's Jackass. From the AOLL. He loves giving us a hard time, and he also knows that both me and Nick are actually terrible at pit stops. Like
Jackass.
If you go back it's about 2 months ago at this point, someone was leading our team into the pits at Daytona.
Oh, no.
Blew his stop, and so I'm thinking, okay, he knows something. No, every single one of the 5 of us missed pit road completely.
Oh, no.
In my defense, I did say 2 laps before that, I don't want to be in front. I haven't practiced entry at all this week. And then they put me in front. Not my fault.
No, the only way you get better is by learning and missing pit road a lot. I mean, hey, you know what? That still doesn't sound as bad. We had somebody, I wish I was making this up, at I think it was Homestead like a season or two ago, miss pit road under green and like missed the end of the pit. Like they went past the pit wall by about 10 car lanes, stopped and tried to 180 and go back. And they brought out a caution in the middle of the cycle. We're like, oh my God, what are you doing? And almost like pirouetted into somebody trying to get turned back around. So
was Kevin LePage driving in your league?
I hope not. It would be news to me, but it was not a good post race discussion. We'll put it that way. Understandably so, though.
So the All-Star race went your way. You won the thing. You were the best of the bunch. How do you think the rest of your season is going to probably go?
So honestly, it's hard to say with fuel because, like, I mean, and you guys have seen it too. Fuel is like stacked. So, like, I always like to feel like I'm, reasonably competitive and in the title hunt every year, but you can't count your chickens before they hatch with this because I mean, there's so many guys that you can point at and be like, yep, they can win this, or and there's guys that like they have really good speed and then they just have bad luck and stuff happens where they're just not in the mix at the end. But when stuff goes right, they're like, it really is going to be their day kind of thing. And we got a bunch of different tracks that we're going to. Like we have 3 road courses on the schedule this year and we've been to none of them. And NASCAR has been to none of them. So, I mean, we've got Sebring. We're going international. We're going to the Red Bull Ring. And then we've got Road Atlanta. So I think those are going to be interesting. We're ending at Nashville Super Speedway, which obviously is a newer track. We've got some short tracks in there, with USA, North Wilkesboro and stuff like that. So there's a lot of different styles of tracks also that play to a lot of people's strengths and weaknesses and things. So, and that's the thing when you have a field that's as stacked, I think, as fuel is, it's like, even if you go to a certain kind of track, like I used to be like the best possible when it came to like road courses with stock cars. Like I would go out and lap all but like the top 5. I can't do that anymore. Not in fuel, but like there was like a league a couple of years ago. I qualified on pole for a race at the Glen by like a second and a half. And like, you can't do that in fuel. And like, so even if you go to a track where it's like, all right, well, these couple people aren't so good, you probably still have a solid 4 or 5 other people that are going to give you a hell of a show for the win. And so it's hard to say. I thought I would do a little better last year and I only won 1 race and it was a plate race and I only led the last 2 laps of it. So, but at the end of the year, I finished second like 4 times in a row. So, it's hard to say. Obviously I'd love to, win the title again. I've never won 2 titles in a row in the same series, but I mean, we've got so many good guys. It's hard to say.
So I guess the great equalizer this year, normally it's, it's super speedways, but the Red Bull Ring you go to Austria in 2,700 pound stock cars that aren't meant to turn right on a road course that primarily turns right, that changes elevation 6 different times and has some ridiculous corners. How do you think that race is going to play out? Because we asked Alan the same thing last week. I want to see if your answer is almost the same as his.
Honestly, I feel like it probably will be because I remember when they announced that it was coming out, and we originally, I think, had Mid-Ohio on the schedule in that slot, and I was like, we should do this instead. And he was like, let's do it. Honestly, I don't think it'll be bad. I feel like the Red Bull Ring is like the international Watkins Glen, or the Watkins Glen of Europe, because you can go there in so many different kinds of cars and have a good race. Open wheel cars, GT cars, whatever, you're going to have a blast because, you've got your pretty well-defined passing zones in there. And then you've got, that kind of technical middle sector where you can really make and lose a lot of time. And, if you want to be a little forceful with a pass, you probably could. But honestly, I'm looking forward to it. Out of the 3, and I was like, Road Atlanta is kind of on the schedule because I've been harassing Will about it for the last couple of seasons. I'm like, we should go there because it's like a bigger version of Canadian Tire, I feel like.
Which is the worst road course in the history of road courses.
It's not bad depending on the car. Like, I did a cup race in a Canadian Tire, and it was awful because the car's it's too much power and the track's too small for them. But like the trucks or Xfinity, it's a little better. But anyways, out of the 3 road courses that we have, I'm probably looking forward to the Red Bull Ring the most. Sebring's going to be a lot of fun though too. So just because it's a wild card. Yeah. But I think that's what's great about it is like, you've got the guys that are really good at road course racing. And even still, that place is super tricky to get around. And it's going to be even harder in these cars, which aren't built to road race. So, I think in a way the track is going to be a pretty big equalizer just for everybody, whether you're good at road courses or not.
Well, I look at it, and I think saying that it's very similar to Watkins Glen, because in my mind it is. Because you only really have 2 tight turns, and the rest are long, sweeping, high-speed turns. And, I mean, I'm looking forward to it just because I absolutely love that track, but you guys will still kick my ass.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I feel
Can
like.
I drive to McLaren the night we go to the Red Bull
Nick,
Ring?
you'll still mow grass.
Hold on, wait a second. I
Damn.
like Formula One. I'm pretty good in the Formula One car.
I mean, you could have the 570S GT4. That's still technically a McLaren, so
That's what I thought he was talking about, actually.
well,
No.
we could just
No.
pretend like that's what he was talking about. We could
Nope.
just do that.
No, just give me like a 2-lap head start because you're still going to beat my ass because you're still going to be way faster.
Yeah, I'm curious though. Out of the 3 road courses that we're going to, I'm curious what the tire fall off is going to be like at the Red Bull Ring, because it seems like every road course that you go to in a stock car, with the exception of Watkins Glen, the tire fall off is just astronomical. It's going to be really bad at Sebring. It's going to be really bad at Road Atlanta, but I'm curious as to what will take place when we get to the Red Bull Ring.
I think you're going to tear the left front up pretty bad at that track.
Yeah.
A lot of right-hand corners, a lot of downhill right-hand corners.
Yeah.
Blind corners. That's 2.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you would probably keep, because you got that long left-hand like sweeper in the middle of the course, or well, you got both of those left-handers, which are reasonably quick. Probably not in a stock car, but you probably will keep the front end pretty evened out. But yeah, it's gonna probably tear the left front up. So, I mean, it'll depend on also what kind of setup we have to use for that. I think Sebring, we've been talking about maybe using the Watkins Glen setup because it actually works pretty well there. Maybe some minor tweaks, but I think the Red Bull Ring and maybe Road Atlanta will be something a little more purpose built, but we'll see. Still a ways off for them.
The Glen is a pretty good baseline for most road courses in a stock car because it's just the basic left right type of road course. It's not too difficult to build a setup for that track.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody?
Yeah. Randy, you're running this thing tonight.
I know, but I didn't know if you guys had any other questions or anything about. I mean, most of the stuff. So, all right, Thomas.
Actually.
Okay, go ahead, Nick.
I just popped into my head. How did you? How do I put this? So there's a lot of talk. Like, I'm going to ask you a question about outside of sim racing and actual NASCAR.
Sure.
So there's a lot of talk about the safety of the next gen car, being that it's now July, and a lot of the NASCAR teams have pretty much ceased creating the current Gen 6 car and are planning on taking delivery of the next gen car and starting next season with these cars, whether or not they're ready. A lot of the big teams have pretty much laid off most of their fabricators that create the chassis, and they've just eliminated that expense. They save a ton of money now. That was the point behind it. Do you think that NASCAR is going to put, with some of the decisions they've made lately, driver safety doesn't seem to be the foremost thing on their radar? Do you think they're going to put that car on the track next year if what we heard about the crash test at Dega is in fact true?
Honestly, yeah, I think they will, because I mean, I would like to think that somebody wouldn't make up something like that and say that like every crash test they've done, they've killed the dummy or whatever. But I mean, you also have to think is like this car has been pushed off a year more than it was supposed to. And you've got, I mean, and that's kind of just been the thing with motorsports in the last year anyways. Like F1 obviously was supposed to have new regs this year. Now they're next year. V8 supercars were supposed to have the Gen 3 regs this year. They're coming in next year now. NASCAR obviously is in the same boat. I don't think... I feel like they're just going to run them anyways. I mean, it's hard to say, and I don't know. I feel like they're putting a lot more focus on, I mean, this gets into a whole, like, just diving into the weeds on things, but I feel like they're worried a little more about the show with things, like, which is why there's people, myself included, that are like, please, can we have like 900 horsepower back? Okay, thanks. And they're like, no, too bad. And like, I don't know. It's hard to say. And I mean, I think it'll be a little easier now that I guess that they've kind of finalized some of these, like the results and the studies that they had going on from the crash tests. Like I would hope they would maybe release some of it publicly, especially maybe to help squash some of the rumors that they weren't that good, that, maybe that would kind of help things out a little bit. Cause I mean, I'd like to think that they're not going to build an unsafe car. I mean, that just seems like far-fetched, but I mean, stranger things have happened, and people are people, and they make mistakes and things get overlooked. But I would like to think, considering now that they've had an extra year to work on this, that they didn't screw that part of it up, because that's kind of it's a pretty sizable whoopsie-daisy if they did. But honestly, there's not enough for really people to be able to tell at this point.
Well, the thing you have to think about this too, NASCAR has already unveiled these cars. They've shown them.
Yep.
And they've already announced these are going to be the cars that are going to be raced next year. I don't see them backtracking. That's just something that NASCAR is not going to do. They're going to try to figure this whole safety thing out. They're not going to put egg in their face, say, oh, here's the car. Oh, crap. We can't run these cars because we have a safety issue. They'll figure that out before, and maybe it won't be perfect, but they're going to race these cars.
I would say that they should do the old COT approach with them. Take the next gen car to all the slow tracks that nobody can really get hurt at. Bring the Gen 6 in for one final, farewell tour at the fast tracks. Yes, Talladega, Daytona, Michigan, they'll all suck because of the package the Gen 6 will have, but at least nobody's going to get killed. I mean, the Gen 6 and the Gen 5 are the first two generations of NASCAR Sprint Cup Series cars, or NASCAR Cup Series cars, that there has been no fatalities.
So
Sure.
I'm gonna be the one to say this, and this is
Okay.
my current belief on the situation. Is they leaked this study, and this is full tinfoil hat thing going on here. NASCAR's lost a lot of viewership, and a lot of people are saying the sport has lost its danger. So if they come out with this just rumor that it failed a crash test, do you think everybody's going to be watching Daytona to see what happens? You bet they are.
But then you have the issue of the drivers. I mean, the drivers aren't going to go out there in an unsafe car. Joey
No.
Logano's already said it. Denny Hamlin's already said it. I mean, these are guys with pull. These are guys with voices. If Denny Hamlin goes to Toyota and says, I'm not getting in an unsafe car, Toyota will pull their backing from the sport unless NASCAR fixes it.
That's the other thing.
If Chase Elliott goes to Rick Hendrick and says it to Rick Hendrick, and Rick Hendrick goes, 3 of my 4 drivers say they won't go to Daytona with an unsafe car. If Chevrolet goes to NASCAR and says, we will pull ourselves out of NASCAR, you guarantee NASCAR is going to do whatever Chevrolet says. Same thing with Ford.
That's the other thing is if they're pushing so hard to try and get more manufacturers into the sport, if you pull back now after unveiling a car, when you're trying to say this is the car that costs and this is modular and it's built for the future and it's a logical investment for manufacturers and OEMs to get involved in, and then you go, oh, actually, yeah, just hold on for 1 second because we effed up something. If you have people I know Honda has come up a lot, Nissan, there were those rumors about BMW maybe. Those brands are going to be like, fine, get lost, whatever. If you can't put a car together that's safe and do it right the first time, this is not going to be a good idea.
Yeah, because that's the thing. I mean, Honda's willing to input money into Formula One. Nissan has showed they're willing to put money into Formula E, and they're willing now to put money into Formula 2, which means they're willing to get involved in motorsports again in a large perspective that's not just GT touring cars. So you have these two huge manufacturers in North America that are willing to put millions upon millions of dollars into what we're looking at on the track every Sunday. Then, you need to put something that the drivers are going to want to drive.
You also, but I think Josh kind of touched on this a little bit about NASCAR creating a little bit of drama before the drama actually happens. And I think that's where you're kind of going.
Yeah, it's 100%. My thought is it's a marketing ploy. If it's unsafe, they're going to fix it. There's no way around it. And you know what? They've got their engineers working overtime right now to make sure that car is safe. They could sit there and do a multi-billion-dollar publicity stunt to say this car's safe, but everyone already has it in the back of their mind. They're going to watch those first few races waiting for the big one. And you know what? More power to them.
Yeah, but with what you said, it's almost like NASCAR would be saying that, hey, we're okay with this car being dangerous if the fans are going to watch. There is not a chance that a sport since 2001 that has invested so much money into changing the way the sport is looked at, and it's gone safety, 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 safety. The only thing that matters is safety. Speed be damned. The track action be damned. For 5 years, all they cared about was safety. They unveiled the COT, the worst driving, slowest, easily flipped car in the history of NASCAR, but it was safe. They unveiled the Gen 6, which was a advancement of the safety, trying to be faster. This new car is supposed to be the safest thing they've ever created. And if there was, they would do that. Their entire reputation is on safety and the fact that they have become the safest motorsport since 2001. They're the only motorsport in the world since 2001 to not have a death on their hand.
Absolutely, but there's kind of what Josh was talking about. Let me explain something. The first race of the year, NASCAR likes to do this little thing, like when Danica came in. Oh, she won the pole for the Daytona 500 or outside pole, whatever it was. So everybody watched because Danica was racing. Then Chase Elliott came in. Oh, we got to watch that. It's Bill Ellis kid. We got to watch that. Oh, then they're bringing back the number 3. We got to watch that because the number 3 is back. These are marketing ploys, and I believe that Josh may be right about this. This may be a leaked thing, but it may be a leaked thing for a reason of trying to get people to watch the first race of the year because there is nothing else for them to watch. I mean, they have no new superstars. There is nothing to talk about. Chase Elliott's the biggest driver there is that everybody's watching, but we don't have anything new. There's nothing new.
What was the big draw this year? Was it this year? Was it Michael Jordan fielding a car?
No,
exactly.
It was the return.
Bubba Wallace.
Return of the fans as well. That was the big
return
thing.
of the fans and Bubba Wallace. That was a big thing.
Next year, you have it writes itself. Next year, you have Roger Penske with a new driver in the 2. You have the new face of Penske in Ryan Blaney. Everybody's going to say it's Austin Cindric, but it's not, just because he's not in the 2. doesn't mean Blaney's not the face. All the pressure's going to be on him. You've got Brad Keselowski leaving probably the second best Ford team, maybe the best Ford team in the field right now, to go to the worst Ford team, maybe the second best Toyota team on the track, because they help Toyota every week because they're so terrible. I mean, then you have Trackhouse expanding, Chip Ganassi leaving, but showing that there's ability for people to make a profit in this sport again, which will bring in more owners, which will give more opportunities to drivers. You have where's Kurt Busch going to land? Where's Ross Chastain going to land? Denny Hamlin's in a contract near next year. There's the conversation of a second 23XI car. I mean, it's endless, the conversations.
But you're also talking to diehard NASCAR fans there. That's all there. I'm the first to admit that I am a fair weather NASCAR watcher. Formula One, up every Sunday morning. But NASCAR, it's if I don't have something to do that day. But for me, I'll admit, I watch Daytona every year. That's given. But, again, it's piqued my interest.
Well,
Exactly.
Here's the other thing to think about, because you're talking about how their ratings have been going down and stuff like that. This is something I've thought about too, because when that gets brought up is 5-10 years ago, whatever, when I was younger, I wouldn't miss a race if I had a say in it. I was watching the race flag to flag. If I have to miss a race right now, fine. You know why? Because I reach in my pocket, I pull out my phone, I go on Twitter, and I know exactly what's happening. So it's like the same thing. I keep tabs on F1. I don't get up and watch it ever. I think the only race that I went out of my way to watch probably the last 5 years was last year when George Russell was subbing for Lewis, because I wanted to see if maybe he was going to win. That's it.
Should have.
I agree.
I 100%. I have more tinfoil hat for that one, but
I know. Same.
Mercedes is the most corrupt place in the entire Formula
100%. They kind of screwed him over just to make sure that they didn't. It would have discounted everything that Lewis Hamilton has done if George Russell could jump in there for one race and pull off a win.
Yeah.
I think you put back Verstappen in that ride, he wins every single race he's ever been in with that car.
But that's the thing. It's like, I don't watch all those races, but like if I, when I wake up Sunday at, noon, because I sleep in really late, I pull up my phone, I can go on YouTube and find the 6-7 minute long highlight video that they post, and I know what happened in the entire race. I don't need to watch the race. Now, granted, with F1, you watch the first 2 laps and the race is over for the most part.
Yeah.
But, it's the same thing with NASCAR. You don't have to watch the whole thing. Or any sport really. Who watches the entire Rolex 24?
I don't think I've ever. I don't think I've ever.
I watch a lot of it too. But even still, it's if I gotta go out and do something, it's not oh my god, I'm missing part of the Rolex. It's fine, I'll just keep tabs on my phone.
I don't move from my couch during Patriots games though. You can't make me move during the Patriots.
See, I don't. This is the one thing that's bad about me is I only watch racing. Couldn't give a single shit about football, baseball, hockey, basketball, none of it. Literally couldn't care less.
Oh, it's been nice having you on as a guest.
See, I'm okay with that. Is knowing that you're from the Philly area. If you got on and just took a dump on the Patriots, it'd make me even happier.
I mean, I know enough to hate the Patriots and the Cowboys. That's about it. But
then you're okay.
I don't care. It's not my shtick. Maybe that's maybe I hate that stuff because I used to get so much crap from people in school about, well, you just like people that turn left every day. And it's yeah, well, fine. You like to watch people that hit a ball with a stick, or fat people that run into each other and get concussions. It sounds real stupid when you simplify it, doesn't it?
Yeah, I hate people who say that type of shit because if you think about it realistically, I mean, Mark Martin had the toughest training regimen of any person in sports.
Yeah.
Dude is
ever.
A badass.
Dude
is a literal badass.
You could take, Tom Brady's 43 years old. He's the best quarterback of all time. Doesn't matter what you say. The guy goes out there and he does incredible things, but he wouldn't last a day doing what Mark Martin did. None of them would. The guy's unbelievable. I think he still does it now.
He's
Yeah.
a beast. Yeah,
He
he's
was
a beast.
awesome.
Yeah.
Mark Martin is like,
he's about this tall,
oh yeah,
but
He's probably like my height.
unbelievable. Yeah, he's unbelievable.
How tall is that?
It's probably about 3'7".
No, he is a small guy. There's no doubt about it.
yeah.
I
I
think
mean,
he's shorter than Joey Logano, and Joey's kind of short.
Joey.
No, he's not.
Joey's like
Joey's tall.
Joey
I'm
is
not
like
thinking about Joey. I was thinking about Dale. I was thinking about Dale. Dale's short. He's like 5'6", 5'7".
Jeff is short too. Jeff is not a whole lot.
Yeah,
He's not a lot taller than I am, honestly.
No,
it's the California in him.
Yeah,
what are you saying? People in California are short?
Mostly. Have you ever met anybody over there? They're a lot of them are short.
I lived in California.
A lot of them are short. Everybody I've ever met from California.
Everybody I surfed with was as tall as me or taller.
Everybody I've ever met that was from California is about.
Are these the ones that have lived there their whole life, their families from there, or the ones that moved there because they thought they could make it big or something?
No, the ones that lived there their whole life.
No.
I want to move to California to become a a world famous superstar.
That's it. Yep.
In what? Street performing. Yeah, because that's gonna get you far.
I might have enough money to like buy a cardboard box from like a refrigerator to live in. Maybe if I'm feeling real frisky, maybe I'll get like a washer dryer cardboard box and I'll attach that so I have like a guest room or something. That's probably what most people can afford.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I looked up what my salary would get me in California the other day, and I was like, "Wow, a 1-bedroom box. That's nice."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, usually the phone call you hear from people like, girls and guys who go out there in California, you get this phone call to mom and dad. Mom and dad, I landed a role in a movie. Oh, really? What's the name of it? I can't tell you. Well, really? What's the name? Come on, just tell us. She does it from behind.
There's the black square and the orange square.
I could afford to live here for a month now.
Yep, that's it.
That's pretty much the way it is. Made on the casting couch.
Whoa! All right. And with that, moving on. Thomas, we're coming up to Daytona. Is it this week? It's this week, right?
Yeah.
Wow. I can't believe it's already on us. I mean, it's
already here.
It's literally almost it's the middle of summer now. I can't believe that. So coming up to Daytona. So we do this little thing. I don't know if you've watched the podcast before, but we do this little thing where we go around the horn and we make our picks for the week. Being that it's the first week of the season, I don't know if Randy's going to have one because he probably doesn't have the driver list in front of him.
I got a pick. Yeah,
all right, perfect. So we'll start with Josh, and then we'll go down, and we'll.
Why you got to start?
Fine. Okay. You know what? We'll start with our guest. We'll start with the fuel driver.
Yeah, that's normally what we do anyway.
You can pick anybody in the field. You can pick yourself. But, that makes you sound conceited, so it's up to you.
Yeah. Well, this is tricky. So, the only reason I would pick myself is because I won the last plate race. However, that's probably the only plate race I've won in a league in, 5 years. So, probably not a good idea. Oh, man. I almost want to pick one of the VRA guys because there's 8 of them. So, a quarter of the field just controls the whole race.
Statistically,
they're going to
nothing wrong with that.
Somebody's probably going to wreck one of them that takes the rest of them out.
There you go.
If they're all in a line, the guy in front of them wrecks, then they're done.
Yeah, that's it. I kind of I'm thinking Shane. I've raced with him for a couple, through the last couple leagues that I've been in on iRacing, and he's a smart dude and he knows how to get it done at plate tracks. So he's my pick. And I know the last 2 plate races really that we've had, he and Alan worked really well together. So I'm picking Shane.
All right. I'll pick next. I would normally say I'm going to pick myself at a plate track because I like plate racing.
But you can't get into the pits in those.
Whenever Chris Passini hasn't been around me, I've gotten wrecked by my teammate. He's the only teammate I've ever had that hasn't wrecked me at a plate race and actually helped me win one. So because of that, I'm going to pick Josh because I love pushing at plate tracks, and I'm going to I love pushing at plate tracks.
Have you seen me at plate tracks lately?
Can you shut up and let me talk? That'd be great. I'm going to pick you because I love plate tracks, and I love pushing. I was the best pusher in the field at Talladega in the trucks. I was a pretty damn good pusher at Talladega in the ARCA cars, and I love the drafting package that is these Xfinity cars. So I'm going to pick Josh because he's going to get pushed to the win by me.
I'm actually, because I went back and watched past races, specifically plate tracks, because you really need to figure out how people drive at these, and it helps. To where you actually referenced my pick, I'm going to go with Alan. Because again,
Not a bad pick at all.
no, he was great in the draft and seems to actually know how to push teammates.
Oh, and not wreck them like you did to me at Talladega twice?
I mean,
No.
there's a good chance I'm going to get wrecked by my teammate because we have a new teammate this year who's still relatively new to iRacing, and he still hasn't done a lot of plate racing. So we have to pick a night. It might be tonight that we're just going to like beat him into submission so he figures out how to bump draft and stuff. So we'll see how that goes.
All right, so Randy.
Okay. All right.
you.
So we did say Blake was going to be in this race, right?
Yes, we did.
We
We actually
did.
have a full Endeavor team.
I was going to say we have a full Endeavor team going into this. So my pick is going to be Blake Gordon.
That's a good
Oh,
pick.
by the way, Nick, when you say I'm a good pusher, I start thinking California all over again.
I was letting it
cast
go.
and count the whole thing.
Anyway, you know what?
Wow.
I think that's all.
Hold
I think
on.
that's-
Nick may give you the whole tip.
That's all the time we have for school this week. So,
Oh God!
Thomas, we're glad you joined us.
Hey, thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we look
Thomas.
forward to the season starting on Monday.
Yeah, it's should be a good one, and hopefully we I don't know. Hopefully we don't have the big one.
Just avoid the number 30 car.
Don't avoid. By the way, you're
No.
gonna see me in this beautiful paint scheme that some certain Elwood guy made for me. I have no idea.
Yeah, he's I've seen him. He seems like he's all right with painting. He's not too bad, you know.
Dude, I can't wait for my throwback scheme at Darlington. Holy crap, did he do a good job on that?
I gotta decide what we're doing for throwback stuff. Usually my teammates and I try to pick something like of the same theme, but I don't know. We'll see. Like one year we did all the Talladega Nights cars, and I think last year we did like classic race cars. So I did like a Corvette Grand Sport.
Oh, that's cool.
Tyler did Mark Donahue's Penske Camaro. So, we try to pick a theme if we can, but we'll see. We put literally zero thought into it, so might need to get on that.
I went full mid 80s.
Yes, I
It's
should
beautiful.
Work on that one too.
All right. Well, Thomas, thanks for coming to join us tonight, and we wish you the best of luck this season in Fuel.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks so much for all the work you guys have done so far. The broadcast looked great last week, and I'm looking forward to Daytona. Should be a good one.
That it should. Look forward to talking to you on Monday.
Sounds like a plan. I'll see y'all later.
See ya.
Yeah. All right. So Thomas filled us in on his life and got us caught up on some of the NASCAR thoughts he had, and now we will transition into our next subjects. And
Oh, I've got lots for this one.
I got so much to say, and it's from so many different people's viewpoints, but I'm going to keep it anonymous. But
So
I have
let's go ahead and go in
So
our
much.
normal order. Go into TNT from the AOLL, and I want to open it up with one quick question.
what you got?
Nick, were you playing games on the start there?
no. So you know what happened? And it's the most embarrassing thing I've ever done in a race car.
Did you shift down to first?
I put it in second, and I knew I was in second. I was fine with being in second, and I don't know what the hell was going through my head, but I went to put down the throttle, and I pushed down the clutch, and then when I finally let go of the clutch, I was hitting it off the red line, and that was the end. That was the end. There was nothing there. It's the most embarrassing thing I've ever done in a race. I have no idea how I did it. I went back and I tried to think, what was I doing? Was I talking to someone? No, I was focused on beating Tim on the restart, listening for his car to go, and I pushed the damn clutch down.
So you realize that you
that
can't
was
give
nice.
John Gordon any crap anymore.
Well, no, I didn't play games. I made a mistake. There's a difference between
So did
playing
he.
games to make. We're gonna agree to disagree on that one, my friend. That you're never gonna.
I
never,
never want
ever,
to hear
ever.
that one more time, because it doesn't matter whether you're playing games or if you screwed up your shift. Same
No,
result.
there's a big difference.
Same result.
I wasn't the leader, so
You were outside line though.
You were still on the front row and
Anyway,
collected
I-
your teammate. You collected
Anyway.
many other people.
Let's look at it. It went like this. Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah. So yeah.
that was that. I'll take my shit for that. That was embarrassing. I honest to God, I was sitting there on the front stretch, and what happened 3 seconds later with somebody turning left into me instead of driving past me aggravated the piss out of me too. But I was sitting there on the front stretch with the car stalled, and I was just like, I am never going to live this one down,
No,
because
you're
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I do from here on out. If I go win races and a championship or whatever, and I deserve it. I deserve to get shit for that, because that was the most. I have done some stupid things in a race car. I've done some stupid things in a real car, but
that was
it
bad.
that was terrible.
Bad.
Yeah.
That's bad. That was really bad. I have to admit that was pretty bad. I couldn't believe he did that. But hey,
I mean, I ran the numbers, and last night 62% of laps were under caution.
That's not surprising. Before the race, we were talking, and I said we were going to get 16 green flag laps. So at least we went past my thought, but it wasn't. It definitely wasn't pretty.
I mean, in all honesty, it was like,
It's typical short track stuff.
honestly, the two people that can be blamed for running at Concord are myself and Carl, because we actually ran that in fuel, and it was an absolute blast.
I mean, it's a mini Phoenix, which is a mini Pocono, so it's a mini version of a mini track. It's a beautiful track to race at. It takes a lot of skill to get around it fast, and it's 16 and a half seconds. It drives like, it laps like Bristol. It drives like Phoenix, but it has its own characteristics. It's amazing, and it's just
the car to me last night seemed loose at times. I really never could get a hold of it. It was confusing me. It was like I'd be tight one lap, and the next lap I would be loose. I'm like, God, it's not consistent. It was
it almost drove like New Hampshire in a way, and what I mean by that is, like, you have to, at New Hampshire, there's multiple grooves you can take, but only one line you can actually run.
Mm-hmm.
And last night, there was multiple grooves. You could take the inside lane. You were going to get beaten. We saw that on restarts. The outside lane was where you wanted to be. But you wanted to run the outside lane, and you could run them both, but, you know, you could really only master the middle lane, which was the lane to be in. And I think the inside lane was a lot looser than anybody really expected it to be.
So
and the tires took forever to warm up.
Well, it's a short lap. But you
It
referenced
was cold last night.
that it was loose like it was at New Hampshire, and we'll get to that, but that was 42% run under caution, which was the best of the week for the AOL.
It was cold last night, too. It was like 72. The track temp was only, I think the track temp was only like 85 degrees.
Yeah, it's only 85 degrees.
It was a really cold racetrack last night, which didn't help, but
no.
you know, you have to be able to be a good race car driver, you have to, you know, be able to run in any of that. It's just, I think things just caught some people off guard, which it happens to everybody. I mean, it was just one of those tracks.
I'm glad I dropped out when I did. I just I dropped out. I spun the first time all by myself. It was my fault. I got loose coming off of 4. And then as we were going around, there was a couple more cautions that I'm running around. And for some reason, I'm sitting there that keeps saying, stay behind the pace car. I'm like, what the heck? And I'm like sitting back there, and it keeps saying it, and it keeps saying it. I'm like, pace car is in front of me. How am I supposed to wait for them to come around? So I slowed down and was waiting for the pace car. Well, then you guys went green. I just said, the heck with it. I'm going to go, how many laps am I going to go down now? Forget this, because I got black flagged. So I just pulled in and said, I'm not going to be 7 laps down, you know, and just run around the back. I'm going to get the same spot either way.
with the amount of
So-
cautions we had last night, Randy, you would have got your laps back.
No. I talked to John
Carl-
Gordon about it.
Carl
He
got
said-
his laps back.
Yeah,
but he wasn't. He would have been 7 laps down. I think 6 or 5 was the max.
Yeah, and then
So-
you also look at the fact that pretty much everybody went down a lap with each incident. So that person only went 1 lap down was going to get the lap back eventually. And
Unless they're involved in the next incident, which we saw a lot of repeat offenders.
no,
Yeah.
it is one of those tracks, and again, I love it. It's absolute great time to run in any car. The Arcas may be a little bit on the too powerful side for it, but they're right on that border.
I think if we ran the modifieds, that would be an outstanding race. And
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun.
You run the modifieds on anything, and it's going to be an
like
outstanding
a super
race.
late model would be an outstanding race too. There, maybe even like a winged sprint car be nice there. But
That would be fast.
I think Arca is. I think it'd probably be doing almost 15 seconds in a winged sprint car.
Oh,
Those things are
absolutely.
stupid quick. I couldn't believe how fast those are. I went to a winged sprint car race a couple weeks ago at a really small track up here. I couldn't believe how freaking fast those things are.
Yeah, we should
I
have
didn't
those
know.
sort of.
I didn't know that there was I didn't know that they were faster than the Cup cars at Bristol. And I looked it up and I was like, holy crap, they are really quick.
Yeah,
It's all that
that's what
downforce on the
downforce
roof.
does to
Yeah.
you. That's why
I
I'm
just couldn't
actually-
believe how fast they were.
That's why I'm actually excited for the next gen Cup car. But
Unless
don't
one
want
of
to
us,
circle back to that one.
Unless one of us gets killed at Daytona in it.
But
Hey,
there's no denying I wasn't in the race. I just got to watch it this morning. It was rough.
It was fun though. At the end of the day, I think it was generally fun. I had actual fun. It's the first time at a short track in a long time. Even I think I finished on the lead lap the last short track we had too last season, but I had genuine fun last night, which I haven't had in a arc
You,
car in a long time.
you spun there at the last restart too.
I spun on the last lap coming
Last
to the
lap,
dog leg,
yeah.
and I had
Yeah.
the throttle up, and I battled. It wasn't Blake. See, I think it was Josh Mays to the line for 6th.
Yeah, Joshua Mays,
I think he beat me to the line by like that much, but it was fun nonetheless. I mean, I found speed that I hadn't found in practice or qualifying throughout the race, and it helped me get up to second. I think if I didn't make any stupid mistakes, I would have had a good top 5. But it is what it is. It's just my luck. It's just who I am. I make stupid mistakes. I got to work through those and get better at that. And I think then I'll be a more rounded race car driver.
Absolutely, I think that's my same problem as well. So
Well, Randy, we can sit here and talk all night, but you were in 3rd last week in the TNT. You were 4th in the Sportsman this week for your home race.
Yeah. The old Randy Pepper was coming out, and I was like, wow, we are going to be in trouble with drop weeks if this guy comes out.
I just got to get some of the tracks. I just got to get a little bit more consistent. Me and Johnny focus more on learning the Sportsman race than I did on the ARCA race, and that was kind of we ran those back to back, and so I think I focused more on the Sportsman, which I probably should have focused more on the ARCA thing, because that one I actually can run for points, but it is what it is.
You have had so much just raw speed in the ARCA cars since you returned to those. It's unbelievable. It's like a total 180 from where you were in the Cup cars, and then it transfers over to the Cup cars. I think if you went back and ran the Cup cars again, you'd be maybe not just as fast because they're stupid and overweighted and they don't turn. But
I have no desire to run that Cup car. Yeah, and until we go to that next gen. I love the way the next gen drives. I can't
don't
wait.
get too used to it. Don't get too used to it yet. We have to see how it actually handles. I think it's going to change immensely.
Sure.
Hey, Randy, I would just like to throw out, because we're kind of naturally segueing a little bit into Sportsman here. You are only 27 points out of the chase in Sportsman right now.
What?
Yeah, and Adam's going to miss a couple races late in the season, I think, too. So you should probably keep running in sports.
You're currently 21st. It's 18. Get into the first round of the chase for sportsmen. Sean Carmody right now is in 18th with 574. You are in 21st with 547.
I hadn't even paid attention to it. So, what's the next track that Sportsman goes to?
That's a good question. That
I can tell you. Give me a second.
It. Dover.
Yeah. I'm all right. That's a kind of a fast track, but I like the short tracks. I really do. I think I like the short tracks because you really have to focus on what you're doing opposed to what everybody else is doing. So I like that type of track.
Dover's a good racetrack to watch.
Dover is a very, again, it's fast, but it's also relatively short. And with the trucks, it's going to be slower than the Cup cars, but it's basically a plate track with some of the smaller cars.
That effing Ally walk across bridge, though, for God's sakes. Terrible being a commentator with that thing.
Yeah, but we also get to hear many comments about the pit road pickers.
And playing at the casino.
Yeah.
Pit road pickers, what?
You don't know where the pit road pickers is?
He brought it up like 5 times when you guys were broadcasting there.
Can you see these bags under my eyes right here? I don't know what day of the week it is at this point, Josh.
It's Friday because you're talking to us.
I think I can remember back to when we broadcasted Dover, which was like 8 weeks ago. I don't remember what happened the last time we were with the IVRL. I have to look back before the races. My memory's gone.
Pit Road Pickers is the band that I play in for the NASCAR races. That's the band that Pat Patterson's a singer. Fat Boy, who worked for Richard Childress, is a drummer.
Fatback McSwain is the drummer.
No, Fat Boy. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Fatback McSwain. No?
Well, maybe that's his last name. I don't know. All I know is Fat Boy. But he worked for Richard Childress for years. Yeah.
He was on the 3 team, right?
Yeah, he was on the 3 team.
Yeah, it's Fatback McSwain.
Okay. Oh, whatever. I don't, I've played with the guy for like 7 years now and didn't know his last name.
My God, that's awesome.
So Fat Boy, and then Matt Humphreys, who's he plays bass for us, and he's a guy that he's like the head of talent and media for NASCAR. So whenever the winner, he takes them all back to their motor coaches and stuff like that. Like every year, he always posts a picture of him and the winner for the the champion going back to the motor coach.
You guys have a website and everything?
Yeah, there's a website up there.
Oh, there's a picture of the guitar addict here.
I don't know what's up there.
That's cool.
Yeah. So, and then Reed Spencer, if you know who Lee Spencer is, her husband Reed Spencer is our other guitar player. So, and then you have Jimmy Fallon, who works on the Nice Motorsports trucks. He's works for Brett Moffitt. He's one of our other guys. So, and then we have other cast of characters that come in and out.
That is pretty cool. I did not know that. That's cool.
Yeah. So that's one of the main connections I have with Pat is because we play in a band together. But
speaking of Pat, he did have to mention on Sunday that it was getting dark 75 times. It's like it's getting dark out here. It's getting really dark.
Well, Pat said he was looking over the shoulder over Kyle, who's in turn 1, I guess, or turn 2, and he goes, "Kyle, there's a cloud coming up over the top of you there. Is it raining yet?" "Nope. It's going to rain. It's getting dark." Yeah. Yeah, so that's that. Yeah, we talked about that the other day. So anyways.
Yeah, Dover should be good in the trucks. Dover's a fun track. It's just
I hope so.
Annoying to broadcast.
I didn't realize. I'm glad you told me that, Josh. I didn't realize how close I was of actually making the chase.
It's one of those things that I keep an eye on because I have a tendency to miss Wednesdays, so I know where just about everybody is in that bottom, like, 5, and who can actually get up there, because I actually want to make it.
What are the point standings right now?
So if we run through very quickly here, Blake Gordon is in first, Justin Anderson second, Dan Shirley third, Joe Dinsmore fourth, and Brandon Bernhardt in fifth.
Okay,
That's
now
not
go.
shocking that Blake
Is going down. Now who's down after that? I mean, how? I mean, what do we
Randy
have?
wants you to run through the top 18.
Yeah, I want no go Pat. I want to see how far back. I just want to see where the points are because I never can't find the point standings on anything.
Well, you're
Dan
not
Lee?
going to be able to find it on the, Sim Racer Hub, which used to be Dan Lisa. They kind of butchered it when they changed hands, but that's neither here nor there. But, no, Blake is leading with 1,064.
He's
When did
leaving.
they do this?
Leading.
Oh, leading. I thought you said he's leaving.
So,
It's like,
so
what?
When
you're.
did they do this?
It was this morning.
Ugh.
But
Huh.
no, and Blake just called it out that you're gonna probably pass Steve Dominy, who's 13 races but 11 provisionals.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, I don't think I have any more Wednesday night gigs either. So
and yeah, like Dan Witt when he comes back, you have a reasonable run in. The one person that's gonna throw you for a loop is Mr. Downey. Because he's
Johnny?
Yeah, he's 19 on the outside looking in.
yeah,
But no, I'm just hoping that it's not me.
well, now where are you at?
Oh, I'm in 14th. Hence why I know where all the people are that can boot
Okay.
me if I really.
Oh boy, yeah. So, well, I guess I'll have to actually practice on Monday night.
I'll be running fuel, which has hurt me more than I want it to, but it's a lot
Hey,
of fun.
it sounds like you're getting a great experience out of that. So,
Yeah, I'm
Hey,
learning
I'm
that people are
32nd
way
in points.
faster than me.
Yeah, I'm 32nd in points, so you know. Feel
Well, good
better
for
than
you.
you, Brady.
Yeah, with 11 or 6 provisionals, they just gave up on giving you provisionals.
Yeah, I don't know. That's weird. That's strange. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
not that big of a deal to me.
all right. So,
We're going to Dover. Let's run some picks.
Well, I mean, it's Dover. Let me look back at last year. Let me see who won last year. I'm gonna guess I already know who won last year.
I gotta guess. I have my guess too.
But let me check. Dover. Did we not run Dover? Hold on, wait.
We may not have in the trucks.
We didn't run Dover. Wow.
I mean, it's still going to be a relatively safe guess here.
I mean, I'm looking at last year's. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 races. This guy didn't win last year. It's been pretty much the same story this year, almost. Well, I mean, it really hasn't. But I'm gonna go with Blake Gordon. I think he's gonna probably get. Seems like a Blake type of track. Blake or Justin, but I would go with Blake.
I'm going to go with Mr. Consistent, Dan Shirley.
Well, my pick. That's who I was gonna go with too.
I
Dan's
do
on,
want to.
he's on a roll, so I was gonna go with Dan as well.
I do want to say that Blake, like not Blake. I don't want to say Blake. Blake didn't lose a step. Everybody else on Wednesday nights kind of picked their. I mean, there's really no better word for it. They got their shit together this season in the trucks.
Or just pick their game up.
Yeah, these guys are. It's so much tighter this season than it was last year at this point. I mean, Blake had pretty much, to the chase, pretty much won everything. And
Yeah.
for the beginning part of the season, it was pretty much him and Justin. But like Chris got involved in it, he got a win. Sean's got a win. Chris has a couple wins. Dan Shirley has
you
a
gotta-
few wins. I have a win. I
I
mean,
was gonna say, you got to win, so give yourself credit for that.
It's the only
Justin
one he has.
hey, kiss my ass. But it's really interesting to see, like how much tighter the truck series is this year. And from a guy who's normally in like mid pack, like the 15th to 8th place ratio is where I think I usually am. It's what I feel like I am, at least. It's a lot tighter than it was there last year too. It seems like the skill level has all just kind of leveled out. Everybody's gotten used to it and just really started to kick ass at every track.
I really still think it's still maybe a 7 car or 7 truck advantage. I think the top 7 really have that advantage over everybody else.
Yeah,
but
we still got a long way to go till the chase, though, Josh. I thought it was like
we do.
5 races. I thought it was like 5 races. No, it's like 9 races.
Yeah, you're thinking Cup.
I couldn't believe it. Like I still have technically. I'm not mathematically eliminated if I started performing well with all the guys who get professionals every week.
I mean, the only thing I'm looking forward to on this is Mid-Ohio, and that's just because I may have gone into the gravel at a very high speed in real life going into turn 4.
So when is Mid-Ohio?
Oh, that's not
Mid-Ohio
until September.
It's September 8th, so
Okay, so there's a possibility maybe I'll get some new VR by then, and I'll actually be able to run a road course, because without VR, I suck really, really bad. Because I ran the last race in VR, and I finished, so I was happy with that.
You almost beat me.
I almost did.
you beat me.
I know. I did.
You did. You beat me.
Well, that's pretty amazing.
Did
You
you?
didn't show up, did you?
No, I did.
No,
Remember
he was
you?
there.
I think you took me out once. It wasn't on purpose. I think
Oh,
yeah, you took me out
Hey,
once.
I take everybody out.
Or I might have outbroke myself trying not to get taken out by you, or trying to take you. I can't remember. It was one of the. It was either I was trying to take you out, or one of us was trying to take the other out. And the other.
You know what?
I broke too early.
Whenever I wear those jeans, everybody wants to take me out.
Well, I mean, natural progression would be. Randy, you picked Blake, right?
No.
I
thought you
picked
said
Daniel.
that.
I picked Daniel.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I apologize. I thought you said you picked Blake. Okay.
No. Nope.
Natural progression would be to go on to the Cup Series. Before we start talking about the Cup Series, I think we have a couple points we might want to touch on.
You do. I'm going to run and refill my lemonade real quick while Nick goes
I
on
have-
a rant.
Was
I
that
have one
is that a
very-
Mike's Hard Lemonade or no? Is
No,
it a regular
just-
lemonade?
Regular lemonade.
Are you? Yeah, I know you're not feeling good.
Yeah, no.
I have one very specific point I want to touch on, and it's I would like a definition of what an incident is.
Okay.
And what I'm saying is I would like a definition of the exact definition that we go off of as an administration team of exactly what an incident is. Because I have seen some things the last few weeks that I would classify as an incident. They don't classify as incidences. And then that I wouldn't classify as an incident with like the biggest ruler in the world that they classify as incidents. So I would like a official definition of what we
Talking about the standings when
Yeah.
Joe goes back and he goes through and figures out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
points,
administration
yeah.
team get together, they go through, they figure out who does what. I would like an official definition of what they consider an incident. Because in my opinion, and I'm not the only person, but I'm not going to throw people out there, we're going to stay anonymous with it, that there are too many instances of it being too general of what an incident is and what it isn't. Like there was 2 or 3 things this past weekend that were counted as incidences that weren't incidences, but there were incidences that happened that weren't counted as incidents. So I just want a definition.
Well, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's, again, playing devil's advocate, yeah, there were a few that came out just from my opinion, broadcasting it, and unfortunately I got to talk about a lot of cautions. A lot.
by yourself.
Yeah, 42% of it. And Blake just kind of went exactly where I was going to go. It's subjective. In all reality, it is. And this is something that I try to remind a lot of people, is not everybody's replay is actually going to be exactly the same. When they save the replay, it's the data that their computer received. To where we've seen a lot of incidents that it's 100% netcode on my end, but on someone else's,
Blake, the door is open if you want to come on the podcast. I will gladly invite you in here.
But again, some people's, because there have been certain ones that even like after a race, and Carl and I have discovered this, we'll watch the exact same thing, and for me it's netcode, for him it was a blatant hit. So it really does kind of just boil down to A, what their computer saw, and sometimes it's different. And I saw things from the broadcast aspect that if somebody sent me a video and we compared the exact same camera angle to what they saw, there's a chance it's going to actually be different.
See, but that's right there. That's what you have right there, is you have a controlled situation that you can control. You have the broadcasters. Use us to your advantage. If there's an incident on the track and you need somebody who isn't physically involved in it, use their computer as what was seen on the racetrack. If the broadcast saw it, rule it that way. Not saying that our opinion is how you rule it. You ask for our footage, we send it to you, because we all save our replays.
Yeah, sometimes.
The ones of us who broadcast, we mostly usually save our replays, and we usually look at them more than once.
Should I start doing that?
I mean, we probably should now. You can if you want. I'm not saying we have to, because it's another step, but I'm just saying it would be a perfect, like, it's the fix to the situation. If it was seen in a broadcaster's replay, that's what goes out to the fans. Use us as the control card, right? Ask us for our stuff. We'll send it to you, and you go and you do your incident review off of our stuff. And then there's no, well, this is what Joe's computer saw. This is what Johnny's computer saw. This is what Ed's computer saw. And then this is what Blake's computer saw. And then this is what Randy's computer saw. This is what one computer saw, and that's it. And an incident can't be subjective.
But at the same time, we're talking
like,
humans, and you know what? The good thing is we do have to think about the fact that there is an admin team that is going through, and I like to believe that they are doing everything in their power to be neutral in all of these situations. And
I agree with you that they try, but as a human, me and you both know, if you have ill feelings towards a certain person about something specific, it's very hard to let that not creep in your mind. So being neutral isn't always... the person who should be doing that is someone who isn't racing. If you had a non-racing admin or a race control person, they should deal with all of that.
Well, but we are also looking at it, we're looking at it in terms of, specifically right now, we are talking, and yeah, Blake, we know you hate everyone. Don't worry.
I'm talking about multiple incidences that I saw, not just on Sunday, but in general, things that we've seen over the last 8 months, 6 months.
But anyway, again, I really look at it as, if we're talking about since we're talking about the point system for the Cup, it's a brilliant way to try to deter people from making dumb moves, because Lord knows I make more than I should. And we don't have it in TNT. We have the 3 incident rule that makes it to where you get parked, but we've only had to enforce that twice, and one of those people is here with us tonight.
3 times.
You've been kicked off the track 3 times?
No, jackass. It's happened 3 times.
Oh, it's been okay.
It was last night. It happened one more time.
Okay, that would be why I don't know, because I wasn't there. But again, we look at it this way: it's ways to deter people from being dumb.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it was put in place to try to detour people from doing things that they shouldn't be doing.
And I'm not shitting on the admins. I want to make that very clear. I think what they do is ridiculous. I don't think they should do half the shit they do for most of the people here. But what they do is unbelievable. All of them, current admins or former admins, it was. That's, you have to be a certain type of person to want to take on all that responsibility for this league, because it's not like a 1 night a week thing. They've got to be doing this 3 or 4 nights a week to actually make sure this place runs well. So they do an awesome job. I want to get all of the, things that can be to subject or to just looking at it and thinking, well, I would call it this way. If we have a definition, maybe not a definition of what every incident is, but a general definition of what they're going to rule an incident, and it's out there, then it stops a lot of the conversation.
Well, but at the same time, I think the biggest thing, and some of the things that they're calling incidents, are setting precedents. And there are things that...
And they're dangerous precedents.
I wouldn't necessarily call
them. Some of them, but if... So, I don't want to reference it because I don't want to reference exactly what I'm speaking about because I don't want to talk about the person who's not here to talk about it. But it's more of a thing. If it happens once and you use that as the precedent, that's fine. But if it happens again and you call it a total different way, then you're just talking up both sides of your mouth, and we don't know what when you're actually telling the truth or when you're letting it.
But we haven't reached that point to where some of these are, many of them are actually original incidents. And sometimes I'm hoping, because I know specifically what you're talking about, it's not something that's likely to happen again anytime soon. And again, I was out on, I was broadcasting, and some of the things that they picked up on are not things that ended up in the broadcast. And because there was a little bit of extra nuance there. And again, I don't think it's something that we should really dwell on because, again, it's something that was put there for the advantage and, admittedly, a little bit of public shaming for doing stupid things. And you know what?
I think they should do it in TNT. That's another series thing they should bring in. I think you'd see.
I'm going to argue against that for one simple reason, and it's a development league. It's okay. We have a lot of guys that, because they get to be out there every week, are making strides. We've seen a lot of improvement from a lot of guys in the TNT, and you know what? Punishing them for, okay, we had 3 incidents one week, they have 1 incident the next week, and then they have 1 incident the next week, we sit them.
Yeah, and it doesn't make sense with that league. No, you got to leave that one alone because, yeah, like last night we had Mark Schilling who came out for the first time,
Blake pointed it out,
and he was, it was his first race, and yeah, he got in some incidents, but that's because he's still trying to learn. But I'm sure he was happy that he beat his son Derek.
Oh yeah, no, Mark is Mark isn't who I'm talking about. That's not why I would implement.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying that Mark was out there. I'm just saying putting
maybe
it in
Sportsman.
Sportsman maybe, but TNT no.
Maybe Sportsman then next season. I don't know. It's just, we're just talking here. And I just want to make it clear again, we're not talking bad about the admins. That's not what we're here to do. We're just we're having a conversation about something that maybe needed to be talked about.
And by the way, Blake did say that that's why he was doing the incident videos, and that ended up not working. But that was part of my Friday morning, like, getting ready for work, was getting to see what all actually happened, because I couldn't see
Yeah, I
it.
did too. I have to,
I think
8
it did
o'clock in the
work,
morning,
though.
I'm like,
That's the
watching
thing.
my phone, watching all the incidents.
I liked it because, like Carl said, I agree with Carl. I didn't want to be in those videos at all, so I did everything I could on Thursdays to not be in that video. At
Watch
least
the-
not be the person causing the incidents in the video. If I was involved in them, there's nothing I can do about
I
that.
will admit that one time that I made the cover was actually like a bittersweet moment of, oh man, did I screw up? And then laughing and being like, wow, I screwed up enough to end up on the cover?
Yeah,
That is true.
That's funny. Yeah.
But
that-
let's talk about, now that we got that out of the way, let's actually talk about the race.
So, from a broadcasting standpoint, when we were green, it was brilliant. I thought that that was actually some of the best racing that I've seen in a long time, with the exception of a few 3-car finishes that we've had. Because New Hampshire's not an easy track, and we were surprisingly seeing guys running a few different lines, and if people got side by side, you could actually somehow make that bottom line work for a few laps. Eventually, yeah, they would get past, but watching guys go door to door for 2 laps trying to get a pass done, it was great.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
then
that
the yellow would fly.
I want to make a public apology to SMI for everything in the last year that I've said about New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Because whatever the package was that NASCAR brought there, and then iRacing put in to iRacing for New Hampshire this year, unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. We had a great race in real life. We had a great race on Sunday in the Cups in AOLL. I mean, it was some of the best racing that I have seen at New Hampshire in 11 years. It was nuts.
I was going to say that race. I didn't see anything wrong
awesome.
with that race. Yeah.
No, I've hated New Hampshire for so long just because of the package they keep bringing there. And I've said that the only thing that could save that track was the road course for the Cup Series. But damn, did they do a good job this year with that package. And iRacing did an awesome job with redoing the track surface to take what you would get in real life now, with that, like, PJ1 kind of still being there, and you have the 2 lines, and then the one all the way down to the bottom line, like, gave you that little bit of extra run that you never had before, and then you had the 3rd line, and then you had the generic 2nd line at New Hampshire. But that was some awesome racing. There wasn't a moment that I didn't like about that when they were under green.
No, but even in the AOLL we had...
I was talking about the AOLL. Yeah, there wasn't a
But-
moment I didn't like about that in the
No,
green.
we got to see Greg Wellen, wins another. But Sean coming in 2nd, starting in 16th, getting himself up into 2nd, had a brilliant race front to back. Justin led the most laps. Unfortunately, ended up in 3rd. But then you had Mike Bass in 4th. It really ended up being one of those races that we got to highlight a lot of people that we don't normally get to talk about in the race. And again, when it was green, there was an absolutely brilliant just amount of racing, top to bottom. The mid-pack was constantly side by side, giving us a great show. And like I said, it was long in the booth, but again, I had a great time calling it, and from everybody I talked to that ran it, it didn't seem as long as it was, because it was fun to run when you got to run.
The only thing I hope they do with New Hampshire in the next 12 months is repave the surface, because the weepers there are getting pathetic. It's a problem every time it rains at that track. It's pathetic. The weepers in the corners. That's the only thing I hope they do to that track. I hope they keep everything the same, and I hope iRacing just updates the car just a little bit to give it the actual horsepower package. because they had the wrong horsepower package. They had the right downforce. They had the wrong horsepower there. But other than that, that track is probably one of the best in iRacing right now for the Cup cars. And coming
Didn't
from
like
me,
it.
me, who said that a month and a half ago, they should tear the thing down and put a casino in its place. It's unbelievable. It's a complete 180 for what New Hampshire's been, not just in real life, but on the service. For a long, long time, the track's just been wrong on the service.
All right, so points in AOLL. We have any idea who's leading that?
Yeah, I can tell you right now. So,
All right, go for it.
Well, hold on.
So right
Randy,
now,
who do
What
you
about-
think is leading?
Blake.
you, sir,
Wrong.
would be wrong. It's Justin Anderson by 33 points.
But you also have to
Hey!
take into account
Blake's
Blake was out
race
there.
He missed
Two
last
races.
night.
Yeah,
He
the first
misses-
two races.
No,
It was
he
4.
also missed last night or last week.
Wasn't it 4? I thought it was 4 race suspension.
I think it was
Well,
only two.
he has
Only
5
two.
provisionals, so he's missed 3 other races this season. I know of one of them. I don't know of the other 2. He didn't race on Sunday.
He was not here. He was not there this Sunday.
Okay, so yeah, he missed. He's missed 5 races, so the 5 provisionals haven't helped him. Getting last place points, but they keep him at second. So he's done a hell of a job. I'm honestly surprised they gave him provisionals, and I think I'm really surprised they gave him the provisionals for those 2 races he was suspended for.
Yeah,
I didn't think they were going to.
still, it's but at the
It's
top.
still unbelievable.
Yeah, we've got
Still a couple.
33 points separating the top, and then Joe is 94 back from Blake.
There's
third.
one thing I wish iRacing tracked throughout a season is laps led. I would like to see where that battle is between Blake and Justin, because those two have been pretty
you
damn close.
I know how I could parse it, but no, that's a lot of work.
I'm not going. Yeah, I know. I was going to say I could go through all 20 races and add up their laps led and get do that manually, but I just like iRace to add a little thing that pulls out of the season standings.
Oh wait,
Hey,
no, we may have it.
Do they?
What?
Stats.
Oh damn! Hold on. It
Laps
is.
led. We have Justin Anderson with 731, Blake with 492, with Joshua Hanner at 337 behind him.
I didn't know that you could do that.
And Hanner has only raced a handful of races. So, pretty cool.
I appreciate whoever just told us that was in there, because I didn't know you
That
could
came
do
from
that.
Justin, and then Ed and Carl, and everybody knew this except for the 3 of us.
except
apparently.
for the
All right, well,
broadcasters.
you know what? You know what? I don't care. I'm okay with this. That's pretty cool. I'm glad that we could see that now. That's cool.
All right, let's go ahead and make our picks for next
Indy
week.
Road.
So, I wish we had the proper road course.
What do you mean?
We don't have the proper. We don't have. Did they update it? Did they add the proper road course? We don't have.
I don't know what you're
actual-
talking about is the
F1, yeah.
proper road course.
Okay, we have the F1 road course. We
Yeah.
don't have the NASCAR road course, which is
Right.
the proper road course for us to run in these cars.
To where turn
We
1
don't-
is the final turn.
Yes, we don't have that in these cars.
Are you sure about that? I'm
I'm
pretty positive that is an
sure.
option.
I'm pretty sure it's not, because there's been a lot of complaining about it throughout different leagues that we cover. Give me 30 seconds to look it up.
I'm
'Cause I'm
pretty
open
sure
for
we
it.
ran that as a fun race, not on Easter, if I remember correctly.
My content tracks. Where's Indianapolis?
Well, whether
IndyCar
we're running it is a different situation here.
No, we do not have the NASCAR road course from this last year. We have the MotoGP road course, which is pretty much the NASCAR road course, but backwards. So it's not the right way.
I mean,
Um,
depending on how you want to talk about it, it could be.
well, no, it's we run it. They run it clockwise, NASCAR runs the Indy road course counterclockwise.
No, the road course is with the flat out corner 13.
We don't have this one. The Indy road course that they have here does not have the extra corner.
Oh, the chicane and
Yes, the chicane. They have it on the bike road course, but they run that clockwise, not counterclockwise. We don't run the chicane with this road course. So they have pretty much the actual Indy road course, but it's without the chicane, which means it's not the proper road course for this year.
yeah.
It would make the race,
like having 13 be wide open.
It would make the race better if you actually had the proper NASCAR road course, because I think it makes it more challenging in the final section of the track with the stock cars.
But I look at it from a spectator's aspect. You have to get turn 12 perfect, otherwise you can lose a half a second on somebody just by being down 10 miles an hour coming out of that last turn.
Yeah, but that's not what you're really looking for at the Indy road course. You're trying to actually make the race entertaining, and that whole section there, anything that involves most of the Brickyard Circle is boring unless you're in an IndyCar. Boring in an IndyCar. Shoot me if you want for saying that, but that's just my opinion. If we actually had the proper road course, I'd pick differently because I think it would suit somebody else. But this road course, I'm going to pick Blake.
Okay. Josh?
I can't believe I'm about to do this for the first time ever. I'm picking the same person twice. I think that this is Dan Shirley. Like, this is we've seen him do extraordinarily well in all of the road courses this year. Just as long as there is turn 13 is not going to be a problem this time around because turn 13 is an oval corner. Because that was his problem when at COTA was turn 13.
See, that was going to be my pick if we had the proper road course. But I don't think this one's going to fit him as well as Blake just because of that last section.
Okay, I'm gonna go different. I'm gonna go with Greg.
Have we seen Greg on a road course yet?
No, I don't think so. That's why I'm gonna go with Greg because I got a feeling he might be a sleeper in this whole thing.
Randy, that's gonna be like that. That's gonna go one of two ways. That's gonna go absolutely unbelievable for you picking that one out of left field, or he could be like the best thing since sliced bread, or he could finish last.
I think when he was on the podcast, he actually said he liked road courses. Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm going to pick Greg. So.
No, 10-4.
We'll see.
We don't do this very often. Why don't we ask our fans out there to tell us who they're going to pick for this Sunday? Yeah. Who do you guys think is going to win the Indy road course?
Well, Adam's already picked himself, so.
The incorrect Indy road course, but the road course nonetheless. We'll call it the F1 Indy road course because that's what it is.
We got a Justin out there from Jason Swan.
That's a good pick. Justin Anderson.
It was my other choice, too.
Is Chris running? Is Chris Piscini running this weekend?
Who knows?
Because Justin is asking if Chris is running. I think Justin is saying if Piscini's running, he's going to pick Piscini.
Okay.
I'm not going to argue that one. And Carl's man crush stands, and he's picking Blake.
So that's 3 for Blake. Joe. So Ed's picking Joe. I mean, it's a lot of the other than Adam. I mean, and Adam's not. I don't know.
He's not terrible. He's not great.
He's not great. But
he's okay.
The Indy road course could be like one of those unknowns because we haven't run it yet.
Yeah. Well, again,
so like Adam could suck at all the other road courses, but the Indy road course could just be the one that he figures out. Because the Indy road course, I mean, it's not stupid difficult. It's a pretty simple road course.
It's a surprisingly easy. There's only one turn that tends to catch people out, and it's not bad. It's a lot of sweepers. The only major issue that I end up having with it is it has 2 massive braking zones that I tend to screw up every time.
The only corner I would think we'd see a lot of people have problems with if we had the not the new road course that they're running would be the 12 to 13 section coming out of turn 12, which is NASCAR 2, into the hard right-hander, which is a really hard braking zone around a curve.
You know what? We don't have it. So
no, that would be that's what I'm saying, is I think that's the only part of the racetrack really that they'd have any issues.
It's turn 10 for me. It's the tightest corner, and these cars aren't going to turn it. It's too tight. It's tight in a GT car.
Yeah, but turn 10, they didn't really have many issues when they ran here last year. The Xfinity cars, they ran here last year. They didn't really have any issues with it.
I'll tell you what, my turn, I'm going to say turn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, all of them. They all suck to me.
Turn 1 is the one that catches me out sometimes because of all the speed you're carrying out of NASCAR, 1 down the straightaway into the first corner for the road. It's kind of like the Charlotte Roval. It kind of catches me out a little bit just because of all the speed you're carrying into that corner. I'm never prepared for it. No matter how many laps I turn, I'm just never prepared for it.
No, that's why I don't like this one, just because that and going into turn 8, heavy braking zones, and I will inevitably zone out on the straight and miss my braking point.
Well,
I won't be there, so I'm not even gonna worry about it.
Well, I mean, so we talked about all of our NASCAR things this week. Randy, you wanted to have a little bit of a live show, post-show thing?
Yeah, let's. Thought we'd kind of do something, go back to my old days. So, first of all, let's talk about gear. Let's talk about gear. What are your go-to things you have to have if you're going to be a sim racer on iRacing? What do you have to have? If you're watching the show and you've never watched the show and you're going, oh, I want to get into iRacing, but what are the things, if you're going to tell somebody, listen, you're into iRacing, what do you need to get into iRacing besides the wheel and the pedals? I mean, what is whether it be crew chief or whatever, what do you think people definitely need?
So I'm actually going to break what you already just said, pun intended, and agree with what Blake just said. Not just a wheel and pedal set, load cell brakes.
Yes.
Okay, that's fine.
Without a doubt. I used to have the default G29 brakes, and I swapped those out, and I was like, yeah, this is way, 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 way better. But if you're talking gear, like physical gear, pair of gloves. Your hands are going to be on that wheel a ton, and your hands are going to get sweaty. If you have a pair of gloves, you're not going
to talk about the glove thing. Yeah,
I've actually gotten
probably.
I have probably gained a half a second a lap on my race pace with gloves because I just feel like I can control the wheel better.
I have super sweaty hands, so I need them.
Yeah. I don't know if it's something in my head or what, but it's just something that makes me feel like it brings the immersion of the sim up a little bit more.
So you guys are taking that over VR and everything else?
No.
No, I mean, I don't have VR, so I can't say it, but I would,
So
that's not a cheap thing to get either.
I can also somewhat agree with exactly what Ed Springer just threw out. He threw out a wife that brings you peach cobbler fresh out of the oven while you practice.
Only Ed would say that.
Yeah, a wife who's okay with you being on this sim way, way more than you should be is a must. Otherwise, you're either going to A, be divorced and sad and be on here even more, or B, you're never going to be on here and you're going to waste all that money on an iRacing subscription, all those tracks, the wheel and pedals, everything. And then she's just going to smack you in your head and say, oh, what, you don't want to hang out with me anymore? Then get out of my house. And then you really, you lost everything.
Yep, absolutely. I agree. I totally agree with that.
And my wife lets me do a podcast. She lets me broadcast. She lets me race 3 nights a week.
My wife's insane. I don't know how she goes with this, but Shit. I mean, Tuesday nights IVRL is like 3 hours.
Yeah.
You know, I got my racing on Mondays now at 9 o'clock at night, which probably goes till 11. Thursdays, I got my racing. I got this podcast on Fridays. I got racing on Sunday. Sometimes racing on Wednesday. I mean, hey, it's like a full-time job in of itself, just being a sim racer.
And how many, like you guys and everybody else listening to us or watching us, how many of you do have a wife that during the week goes, yeah, I know what you're doing this week. Yeah, you got to race. That's what you're doing. Because, yeah. And they kind of throw it at you a little bit. So anybody else?
From time to time, she does that. You know what I do? I take that week off. When she goes, oh, so you're racing tonight, huh? No, I'm not, honey. Not anymore.
No, mine always just asks, because my setup's in my basement, she's always just asking, when are you going downstairs? Just so she knows when she can start watching whatever TV she wants to watch herself.
Oh, yeah, dude, mine is the same way. Mine will say, all right, so it's Wednesday night. Don't you have a race night? Because all her Chicago PD and all that stuff is on that night. And then Thursday night is, gee, don't you have a race tonight? Or don't you have to call a race or something because, Grey's Anatomy's on? So, yeah, I got the whole thing. I understand that totally. So, hopefully you guys out there will comment on that one as we go through that. Now, the next thing we'll talk about, we heard possibly there's an SRX sim coming out. So
wait for that.
I heard rumors of this, which is going to be kind of cool if this happens.
It's been a hell of a week for like racing video games. I mean, last week you have the announcement, not the announcement, but the first look at the new engine for NASCAR 21 on Xbox and PS5 and PC, whatever it's going to be on. And you have the announcement that in 2023 we're getting our first IndyCar game since EA had the license in 2003. The last time they were in a game was Forza, and it's not really an IndyCar sim. It's just like a racing sim. And then you have the SRX game that you already have, which isn't like a legit sim. It's kind of an like a arcade style game. And then the rumors of an SRX standalone sim, which would be, I don't know how they're going to do it. I don't know if they're going to do it kind of like an add-on to like a Forza, or maybe like what Blake said, maybe like an iRacing thing, which would be kind of cool to get the SRX cars in here. But it's been a hell of a week for racing games, that's for sure. If you're a gamer, spend the week to like be on it.
Let's talk about it real quick. So we've had all these different racing games throughout many years since the 90s. What are your favorite racing games outside of iRacing?
I mean, I have this specific setup that I do for wheel and pedals because I'll still bust out Gran Turismo.
I love
NASCAR Thunder 2003. By far the best EA Sports NASCAR game ever made. NASCAR Heat 2, like not the new one, but the old one from like 03, whatever it was, NASCAR Heat 03 or whatever it was when the Heat Evolution series first began, was a damn fine simulation ahead of its time. Dirt to Daytona. Who hasn't played Dirt to Daytona if you had a PlayStation back in like 2004?
I haven't played it.
You've never played NASCAR Dirt to Daytona?
No.
Oh my Lord. If you ever get the opportunity to find NASCAR Dirt to Daytona, which it's going to cost you a lot of freaking money to get it for your PS2, because it is a cult classic. It is a unbelievable game. It's
from the comments, Nick, you may be alone in that one.
I'm not alone in that, trust me. That thing has like a cult following. Dirt to Daytona is one of the most talked about classic NASCAR games. It was the first NASCAR game of its time that allowed you to start in like local dirt cars, drive a Craftsman Truck Series car, then you had it was dirt, then it was modified, then it was Craftsman trucks, then it was cup cars, and this was like in 2003 or 2004. This was like when this shit didn't happen. I mean, obviously on PC you had NASCAR Racing 2003, but when it first came out, all you really had was Cup Series cars. Now with mods, you have all these different cars, but back then it was just Cup cars.
Yeah, my favorite one back then, I love the 2003 PC game, but I still like the Arca Sim Racing one. I think that was a really good sim. Because you had dirt cars as well as the asphalt cars, and they had mods that you could actually run cup cars in there. So that was my favorite of the bunch. So
what was I gonna say? There's another one. When EA Sports finally announced or allowed you to take control of like an actual NASCAR team when you bought it and put like a real number on the car.
I remember that.
2005, not Chase for the Cup. It was 06 Total Team Control, where you could switch drivers in the middle of the race, control the whole team, like help your team finish 1, 2, 3. That was just the EA Sports. What they did with NASCAR games on the console is just unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so this last thing, because we only got 10 minutes left, we're going to get out of here at 10 o'clock. Your top 5 racing movies. Josh, you want to go first?
Yeah, because this one's relatively easy. And this is actually no particular order, because I'm not going to lie, one of these is probably going to make people laugh at me, and I'm going to open with that one. Cars.
100%.
Absolutely
100%.
great.
It's an unbelievable movie for being an animated movie. They caught NASCAR so well for a Disney movie. For a Pixar movie. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Senna, again, one of those that man was absolutely brilliant. The original Gone in 60 Seconds, if we're going to count that.
The original one, the one way back?
Yes.
With Steve McQueen with Bullet?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Original Bullet, so much better than that remake of Bullet. But, Steve McQueen, best actor of all time.
But then the two that everybody has to expect, which is Days of Thunder, which put NASCAR on my radar, and playing the old NES game when I was like 6, 7 years old, and not understanding it but having a blast. And then I'm assuming every single one of us is going to have Talladega Nights on here.
You'd be wrong.
Considering
all right,
Ghostfire Media is from that.
You'd be wrong.
Because you're going to have to go all weird on us.
No. Cars is a top 6 movie. It's not a top 5. Obviously, Senna. You can't not know motorsports and not talk about Senna. But Rush, awesome movie. About the 1976 Formula One season. Rush is unbelievable. Ford versus Ferrari.
Yeah, that's a newer one.
That's unbelievable.
That's a good movie.
The Love Bug. Come on. The Love Bug. The first of the trilogy of Herbie movies back from the 60s. Whatever bug got 3 movies about it in the 60s, and it was an actual race car? And you have to go... Obviously, Days of Thunder. And then my 5th and final movie is actually the Cannonball Run.
Oh, no, yeah, that was a race movie, that's for sure. I had forgot about that one, definitely. But great movie. I had thought more about Stoker Ace. You guys
which
Ed
just threw out.
Such a good movie. That's a top 10. There's been so many though that the top 10 you could literally talk about 500 movies to get your top 10 when it comes to racing. There's so many good ones.
I know.
Do you consider Need for Speed? Like
Yeah.
the Need for Speed franchise, like the one from 04 and then the one with like the Mustang in the 2014 or whatever. Do you consider those racing movies? I consider them car movies. I don't know if I consider them racing.
Yeah, I think
Well,
it's
I
kind of
mean,
racing.
I threw in Gone in 60 Seconds, so...
Yeah, so same thing. Yeah. So, all right. So mine are Days of Thunder, of course. By the way, if you like Days of Thunder and you're on YouTube, check out my my channel, Randy's Attic, where I do a
He's inviting you to his attic, folks.
Yeah, into Randy's Attic, and it's on YouTube, and I'll show you the filming locations for Days of Thunder. So if you want to find out where they filmed that in the Daytona Beach area, I document all those areas. So check it out.
A tip in the attic as well.
Well, it's just Randy's Attic. That's Randy's Attic, and while you're there, definitely stop by and give me a like and a subscribe while you're there too. And also, if you're watching this on YouTube, give us Ghostfire Media. Give us a like and a subscribe to the channel.
Hey,
Also,
Randy, Blake said it's better than your basement. I was thinking Randy's panel fan.
it's white, by the way. No.
does it have Andy on the side? Wait, no,
white.
you're in Daytona. It says free cocaine. Who am I kidding?
No, free meth. Okay, so my second movie, Talladega Nights, as we talked about, we had to have that. My third is Senna. I've seen John Cena.
Ooh.
You can't see me.
Ooh, you almost got your head ripped off
Sorry.
by the racing community there.
I
think
know.
everybody in the comments are going to go crazy when you call them Cena.
You can't see me. 4 was Rush, like you. And the fifth one is one that I'm kind of surprised nobody else touched on, was the Fast and Furious.
See, the first 3 of them were great.
Yeah,
The
I
last
said the Fast
12
and
of
very
them.
first one. The very first one.
Okay, good, because the last 12 of them have been, I don't even know what number they are on. Like,
Yeah,
what,
I'm the
11,
one that,
9.
17? They're on 9?
Yeah, 9's the one that was just...
Oh.
yeah, 9 is out right now. And if you want to
Oh,
count Hobbs and Shaw, that's 10.
that's actually, no, that's a good movie. That's a good movie. Anything with The Rock is good.
So,
You can smell what the Rock is cooking.
Anything with The Rock is decent. Anything with John Cena is usually good. But when you put 9 movies of Vin Diesel going, family is everything, and then you don't know about his brother until the 9th movie. Like, what? Is family really everything to this guy? It's like a big character flaw right there in front of your
Big
face.
time. I agree. So, so the first one was one of mine. Yeah.
No, not the Tooth Fairy, Adam. It's not a good movie. I shouldn't have said everything.
That's why
so
it's
I will say that Adam brought up one movie that I completely forgot about, and that was Driven with Sylvester Stallone.
That was a good movie, too.
I've never seen it.
Yeah.
Never seen it.
It's
Maybe
it's a
my
little
time.
dated at this point because the technology that they use. Because I actually watched this not long ago. Because
I mean, at this point, so is Talladega Nights, though. Like Talladega Nights, I watched that today, and like the cars that were on the track in like some of those scenes were clearly CGI.
if it's one of those things that as you're watching it, you're just like, oh, this is so delightfully late 90s. It's not like the movie making technology. It's a technology that they're using.
Oh, I was gonna say Days of Thunder. They just kind of took pieces of racetrack and like threw it all together. Like, oh, they're at Daytona. We'll give them a shot from Atlanta. Here, cue the shot from Phoenix. Oh, hey, give them some Bristol.
I have to tell you something about which is in my filming location thing. The car crash, like the major car crash that Rowdy Burns and Cole were in, actually was filmed on an airport strip in Flagler County. They filmed that, and if you look at the clip really closely, you can see a palm tree in the background, or it's like a palm tree or a tree. There's a tree in the background that you can actually see, where you can tell it was completely flat and it wasn't a racetrack at all.
I couldn't believe that when they did Days of Thunder that NASCAR actually allowed 2 camera cars on the track during an actual race. I could not freaking believe they did that.
They were, yeah. I was at the Twins when they did that.
That's, I get Hollywood. It's 1989. You're going to make millions off of this. You're going to get hundreds of thousands of fans from it. You're hoping that this is going to be huge. But to allow Hollywood to enter 2 cars in your biggest race of the season, what if something broke on one of those cars and ruined the race?
Those cars were actually real cars and prepared by Hendrick Motorsports.
Yeah, but what if one of the cameras broke or something, and a piece of the camera fell out in the track and put a hole in Dale Earnhart's radiator? Dale Earnhardt hit a fucking Pelican that day or whatever it was.
Yeah, no, those cars actually were the camera cars were separate from that whole thing. They ran those at different times, but those cars that they actually had in the race, basically they had in-car camera. They didn't have anything hanging off of them.
Well, I know there was one sitting it was inside next to the fuel tank, looking out the back. But what I'm saying is what if something broke on one of those cars that really weren't ever contending to actually win the 500 or even thinking about driving all 200 laps, or they caused the big one or something and they took out the eventual winner? It would have just been, it could have gone terrible. That's all. They would never do that now.
Yeah. You sure
no. Well, they might now try to get some people to watch the sport again.
They might. You know what? They've made some pretty stupid freaking decisions the last month and a half. So it wouldn't surprise me. Yeah,
no, it wouldn't surprise me either. So hopefully maybe you guys can share your top 5, or if you agree with our picks, whatever. Yeah, and let us know if you like this kind of segment that we did here, talking about this different stuff, kind of going off topic, but still racing related. And, we were just trying to kill some time. So if you like it, let us know.
Had some fun.
Yeah, just had some fun. So, and maybe next time we'll have some trivia questions, and I'll send out a T-shirt to people for winning.
Oh, Randy, you're never going to beat me in trivia. Am I disqualified?
You don't get to participate.
You don't get to participate.
It's going to be who can get it into the comments.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm disqualified because I'm Rain Man.
No, you're disqualified because we don't like you.
Wow, you're a dick.
I'm aware.
Okay, who said that in a movie there, Nick?
Hundreds of people.
No, who's the most famous person ever say, "You dick"?
I don't know.
Oh, we got something. We actually stopped it. The Rain Man didn't know it.
I'm not a movie buff. I'm a NASCAR guy.
One of the most famous movies of all time.
I don't watch a lot of movies. I watch a lot.
Anybody out there? Anybody else want to comment on that? Who said "you dick"? Anybody? I can't see the comments, so I don't know what they're saying.
Nobody said anything yet.
We have crickets.
Randy, throw a NASCAR question at me, Randy.
Okay. Let's see here. Let me think of something I can stump you with, maybe. What number did Greg Sachs run when he won his only race?
Hold on. I need a piece of paper. No, I need a piece of paper because
I'm watching the reflection in your glasses for some.
Yeah, he's looking at
action.
No, I actually need a piece of paper. Where's my word? I need word. Try to think of what he drove. Was the 51? He drove the 51.
That car that he won was an R&D car.
He drove the 51. I know that.
Mm-hmm. He did at one time. He also drove the 18.
What year did he win his race? I'm trying to remember this. It was in the 90s or was it in the 80s?
This would have been, believe the early 90s, maybe it might have been late 80s, but it was a Pepsi 400.
Hold on.
Or not Pepsi 400, it was a Pepsi 400.
Are you sure it was the Pepsi 400?
Or Firecracker 400. Yep, positive. Because it was an R&D car that they kind of deemed the car wasn't legal quite, but they gave him the race win. He won two races, I think, that year. So, but that was his first was the Firecracker.
I think we're going to go ahead and leave this with Nick
we're
being
gonna,
stumped.
I like this. We're gonna leave it.
No.
Nope. Randy, throw us out.
Hey, folks, thanks for watching the Ghost Fire Media podcast tonight.
Ha! It was the 50. No. It was the 49.
You were wrong all
You were wrong.
the whole way.
49.
It was a 49, but yeah, you were wrong. So
I had to think.
You also had to Google.
You had to
I didn't
Google it.
Google.
We watched it in your eyes.
I had Word open. Oh shit! I just dropped my fucking dumpster fire.
And there goes the rating.
You made my dumpster fire go down.
Anyway.
Yeah, it's the 49. It's like one of the only 3 wins the 49 car's ever really gotten. Because that thing has had terrible drivers its entire history.
Who was the most famous of all those drivers?
Depends on how you want to look at famous.
Okay, all right.
If you want to look at people who never was Shauna Robinson.
Hey, there you go. What was Okay, here's something here. What did Shauna Robinson drive before she got in NASCAR?
I don't know that. I don't know much about Shauna Robinson. I just know that she was terrible. She drove the 49 Schwann car for a while, and then they got a sponsor for like 5 races, and she sucked so bad the sponsor dropped her, and then they dropped her. Let
me tell you my Shauna Robinson story.
What was she? Did she like qualify 12th and then wreck 7 laps in because that's what she did?
No. Okay, so Shauna Robinson, actually, we were in a bar and playing in this bar, and my buddy came out to hang out with us. Well, Shauna came in. Shauna Robinson actually had sex in the back of a car in a parking lot with my buddy.
That's you know what's sad about that? That's the most entertaining thing that ever happened in her NASCAR career.
No, she actually drove trucks, like semi-trucks. That's where she got her start racing. It was driving semi-truck racing, like short circle track and semi-trucks.
Did she ever win anything?
Yeah, she actually won.
Wow. At least Danica won a professional race.
Yeah, well, it's all the way you look at it. All right, let's get out of here. Yep. All right, folks. You've been watching the Ghost Fire Media podcast, and don't forget, we've got racing on the Ghost Fire Media Network coming up Sunday, where Josh Laston will be calling all the action from Indy, and then Fuel on
making an ass of myself all night.
I won't be there. We don't. And then on Monday night, the Fuel League will have their actual first official race at Daytona,
where you'll see me make an ass of myself all night.
Where he will be giving just a tip to somebody.
To Josh, all night I'll be giving Josh just the tip.
The full shaft.
Yeah, no. If I give him the full shaft, it means he's in the wall.
Josh, okay, so I still don't really see where this is wrong.
And Adam and Larry will have the action in that one. Then on Ghost Fire will be back on the air on Thursday again with the TNT.
Where I'll be making an ass of myself all night.
We all will be. So, anyways, so that's our lineup. And don't forget, next week we'll be here right here, same bat channel, same bat time,
same bat cave.
So, from Josh Lasson, Nick, Adam, and myself, Randy Pepper. We'll see you next week, and so long from the Sunshine State.